Hello, my fellow nerds, and thanks again for watching another episode of Nerdboy Gaming. I am Nerdboy81. Well, it's been a couple months since Ark Survival Ascended officially launched. Well, launched in early access anyway, but officially landed on Steam and Xbox and console and all the various areas. And I thought that I would start a new series where at the end of every month, I would talk about the state of Ark, where it currently sits, and whether or not we are seeing it get better or worse. So in this video today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my opinion around Ark. I'm going to give you guys some Steam numbers that are not so great. We're going to talk about what some veterans have told me and why I think Ark is on the tipping point of a very slippery slope. So let's buckle up, let's dive in and get right to it. Now that the game has been out for a couple months, that new game feeling, that new game polish has essentially worn off. And what we've been left with is Ark Survival Ascended, The Island, with decent graphics. Now, I play on console, so it's a little bit different because yes, I can run mods for the very first time, and I can play with my friends on Steam. That is nice for me. However, I've got to admit that after the game's initial launch and after the excitement of it being out and the new graphics, I am not entirely impressed with ASA. It has ran very well on my Xbox. In fact, I've had 0 crashes and I haven't had any issues with the rollback bugs. However, I am not entirely impressed with the graphics. In fact, at times, I think the graphics don't look good at all. In fact, I'm going to show on the screen right now some of those times. And there are areas where, just in my opinion, this game just does not look as good as I was hoping for an Unreal Engine 5 photorealistic game running on my console, an Xbox Series X, which, by the way, is running in 4K. It just doesn't look as good as I would hope. And that's unfortunate because I was really excited for that next generation graphics. Now, if you're on PC, you might be feeling some of the same things I'm doing. The water just doesn't look good. Sometimes when you're flying, the clouds, the fog, it just doesn't look good. Now, I know there are admin commands to eliminate some of those things, but I contest that you shouldn't have to go into an admin mode to eliminate ground cover or clouds or fog just to make the game look good. It's a console. Those are not things we're supposed to have to do on console. In fact, I have never done any of those things before. In fact, I would say most games, I plug in, turn on, put the disc in, or depending on how I got it, download it, hit start, and begin playing. Occasionally, I might go into settings and change the field of view or eliminate motion graphics. And even on ASE, I went in and turned off VSync because it was creating screen tearing. But I've never had to turn clouds off or optimize the game myself to make it look good. And because of that, I have found myself almost enjoying ASE better at times, playing Scorched Earth. At times, honestly, it looks better. ASA looks good, don't get me wrong. And if you're running on an epic settings on a masterclass PC, it can look downright amazing. But I've seen it even on my sister's computer, which is running, I think, a 2080, an i9 with a 2080 NVIDIA graphics card, and the foliage doesn't look right. The water doesn't look right. The game is not ready. With that, we also have one map, the island. Now, recently, the Steam numbers have not been so good. In fact, today, for the first time in the history of Ark, with ASE and ASA combined, it has dropped over 9,000 concurrent players. Now, I checked at about 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and it was up a little bit. It's at 12,000 concurrent users. However, that's still 65th on the list, behind games like Civilization 5 and Fallout 4, games that have been around for a long time, games that are $20 to play. Ark Survival Ascended, a new game, should not be sitting in the 64, 65 range, and even earlier. And I've seen screenshots of it below 10,000 concurrent users. And even at its peak, it's only had 16,907. And if 16,000 concurrent at its peak is not phenomenal for a game that has just launched. Even Ark Survival Evolved has had almost more in currently playing than it has in its than ASA had at its peak, and 28,000 today. It's a shame to see the game sliding. Now, recently, ASA has thrown out in their last community crunch, and they've been talking about some of the mods. There's a side scroller going on that you can build games within the game, and you can bring in characters, and there's all sorts of mods they're highlighting. However, I feel like they're throwing the kitchen sink at the game, trying to keep it relevant because it's clear that the game's numbers are bleeding because they have a lack of content. And with that, I've talked to a few veteran players who have been around since the launch of this game, and they essentially told me they feel like they are in a time machine back in 2015 playing Ark for the first time and going through all the same issues again. They did that once. They don't want to do it again. Ark, a remaster, came out with one map, a map that many players had played for a long time. It's unfortunate that that has happened and that they are rushing. Clearly, they're rushing to get content out, and which is why the center, I think, is coming out in February. They have to get some stuff out now. The question will be, does the center happen in February? Does Scorched Earth happen in March? Will these maps come, and will it be enough to bring the player base back into Ark? I'm certain that over time, the player base will come back. But right now, with games like Pal World and Shrouded and other games out, people are leaving Ark Survival Ascended to play new games, maybe for the first time in a long time. Recently, they announced the Frontier Pack and their new dino, the Oasisaurus, and it's right on the verge of pay-to-win, microtransactions. It's just not a great look for a game that has been struggling to gain a foothold with its veteran players and bringing in new players. It's just unfortunate. So, like I said, right now, the way the game stands, at the end of January, I think it's at a tipping point. I think it is imperative that the center come out, not at the end of February, but hopefully mid-February, and that Scorched Earth can come out in March. If they can get these maps out quickly and then get to the next one, the game will start to grow in popularity again. But if there are delays and these games don't come out and they add more microtransaction pay-to-win content and they try to get us to look over here with side-scrolling adventures that is not Ark, it might be fun, but it's not Ark. It's not what we're here to play. Ark may have a problem. This game is a clearly was rushed to delivery. It was not ready to be launched in October. They were desperate for the money. They had to get it out. This was supposed to be the financial crutch to get to Ark 2, which quite frankly, I don't even see ever happening. I'm worried about the community for Ark. I'm worried that this is just not what we want. And this is not even including what's going on with Nitrado, the cost to run servers, the rollbacks, the updates, the exploits, the cheating, and everything else that's been happening in this game. I'm new to the Ark community, and I'm certainly still excited for what is to come. However, at this moment, at the end of January, and for me, the state of Ark at this point is precarious, to say the least. It is on a teeter point. It is, if these maps don't land when they're supposed to, we could see ASA fall into irrelevance and fall way down the Steam player list. For the fact that it had less than 10,000 concurrent players is unfortunate. Veterans are just not playing the game. They're going back to ASE. New players just haven't picked it up because they haven't, I don't know, maybe they've seen some of the graphics on the Xbox and aren't impressed for what is supposed to be photorealistic Unreal Engine 5 graphics. I'll be honest, Red Dead Redemption 2 had better graphics in the last generation console. I hate to be so terribly blunt, but this has not been a very successful launch for Wildcard and Snail Games. Hopefully they turn it around. Hopefully the maps come, and hopefully the player base continues to get excited. If they could get a map out every month or every other month, then by the time somebody's ready for the next map, it'll be here. But right now they're relying on the mods and they're relying on the modders to make this game fun while I assume they're working feverishly to get the game out. Now I will tip my hat to Wildcard. They've done a great job of patching this game up, getting it running, getting it working, and bringing it to us. But right now, personally for me, I'm not impressed with the quality of the game and where it sits and the lack of content. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think is happening, where you feel like this game is at the end of January 2024, and if you're excited for what's to come. Of course, if you're new here and you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really does help the channel out. We've got big plans for this year. We're going to be doing a lot of videos. Every month, we're going to be doing the State of Ark. We're going to be playing Ark. We are still going to continue our Ark Survival Ascended, the story with Krug. We're also playing Ark Survival Evolved, Scorched Earth. We've got other games to come, and I'm going to be doing some fun things and possibility of starting a second channel that's not gaming related at all. So stay tuned for a lot more to come in 2024. Until next time, guys, have a great day.